While we work at Microsoft, this podcast is independent of Microsoft and implies no warranty or guarantee of the products or services. We will not be sharing anything confidential, and we do not represent the opinion of Microsoft in any way. We are just two passionate guys that love what we do implementing Microsoft devices and services.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Welcome to the Device Pros podcast. I'm Frank Pinto, and my co-host is Alfred Ojukwu. This show is all about our experience as consultants implementing Microsoft solutions around the world. If you're already an IT pro or you're trying to get started, you've come to the right place. We will discuss tech success and failure in the show, resources, tips, tricks, and everything in between. You can find us at www.thedevicepros.com, on Twitter and Facebook as The Device Pros. Hold on to your surfaces, the episode is about to begin. Welcome back to another amazing episode of The Device Pros. My name is Frank Pinto, and I'm joined by my co-host, Alfred Ojukwu. What's up, Alfred? How you doing, man?
Doing good. Just enjoying the rainy weather of, late fall. Exciting times.
Nice. I understand you're calling from New York City.
New York City, in the heart of it. Manhattan. That's where I'm at. Having a good time.
Nice. I'm jealous. New York City in the fall is awesome. I love that area. It's beautiful. Are you near Rockefeller at all?
No, I'm probably about 20 blocks away, but New York is, the concrete jungle. You just kind of enjoy it wherever you're at.
Yeah.
People everywhere.
Cool, man.
Speaking of New York City, I mean, it kind of ties into kind of our conversation today. I mean, one of the things that I was concerned about, or at least think about when I'm in New York City is, you kind of have to watch your bags and your wallet. Not so much as it was in the 80s, but even more so now. Just because there's so many people and you don't know who's who and, what's going to happen if they bump into you. Outside of that, it's a great place to be. Mm-hmm. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is it ties into our conversation today around information protection, right?
Yeah, so this is going to be part 2 of a 3-part series covering
Enterprise Mobility Suite.
Enterprise Mobility Suite, or EMS for short. All right, so we know there's 3 components for Enterprise Mobility Suite, and last podcast we left people hanging to let them know what, or we didn't let them know what we were going to cover as part 2. And so we've decided to cover Azure RMS in part number 2, and so that means part number
Azure
3,
rights
management, yeah. And so part number 3, we're going to cover Intune. Before we jump into this, I just want to geek out for a minute, so I'm actually starting a road trip to China and Japan and Korea and Australia in the next few weeks, and Singapore as well. And so I can't wait. I've got 2 Nokia devices I'm taking with me. I've got my Nokia 1520. I bought the RM938, the unlocked one, so I'm dying to see how that does overseas. And then I also grabbed that new Nokia, well, I guess it's not new anymore, but the 630, the dual SIM model. It's funny, I went into looking for a SIM tray. Have you used any of those?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, so, different phones have different size SIM cards. So the 1520 uses a Nano SIM, and the 630 uses a micro SIM. So they have these little trays, and I'm able to drop my Nano SIM inside of the micro SIM tray, and it fits into my 630.
Nice.
So I went into the store and asked the guy about it, and he's like, "Yeah, they don't make those things. I don't know, man. You're out of luck, and your SIM card's locked to your phone, and blah blah blah." But actually, he was wrong. I popped in my Nano SIM, and I'm up and running. So I'm dying to on one of the podcasts when I get back, we'll have to talk about how what my experience was.
Yep. No, it sounds really good, and I think people would be willing to hear that, and that's really good information to know.
Yeah. All right. So enough of the side note. Well, okay. We can't start this podcast without talking about it, at least for just a couple minutes. I know you're dying to get into RMS, but we had a major announcement here at Microsoft.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. It's for those of you that are running Windows 8, it's probably a big surprise because the question is, where do you go next? And we are going to not Windows 9, but what, Frank?
Windows 10, or if you're listening from Mexico or Spain, Diez.
So, the rumor has it that, Windows 9 was so good that we decided to skip the version and just move over to Windows 10 and keep moving forward. So,
you know what's funny, man? There's been blog posts and all kinds of stuff. Before the announcement was made, people were doing all kinds of guesses and all kinds of things, as to what the new Windows is going to be called, and it was pretty cool, checking it out. And I had my own, thought process. I was thinking it was going to be Windows 1, like Xbox One, and all the ones that we're using these days. So I thought, okay, maybe it'll be Windows 1, but I like Windows 10. I saw a blog article this morning, and somebody was suggesting, do you think they went with Windows 10 because of, like programmers, if they wrote their program to say, if you are Windows 9, like 95 or 98, like they didn't actually program in an actual version checking, they just went the lazy way, then it could cause some issues. So maybe Microsoft decided, let's start with, Windows 10, because obviously whatever's on Windows 1 doesn't exist anymore. So,
well, if it does, it's in Bill's head right now.
That's probably true.
So yeah, we'll probably have some really good content on Windows 10 in a few weeks. So
yep.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Yeah, Windows 10. So I think we should do that after the EMS Suite series.
We'll see. We'll let the bloggers and the readers decide that.
All right. Enough of this. I know everybody's dying to find out about RMS, the Rights Management System. So let's jump in. First off, what the heck is it?
Right. So for those of you guys who aren't familiar with RMS, well, you might be familiar with, AD-RMS, which is Active Directory Rights Management Server, which lives on-prem where you don't have servers in the cloud. And it's basically used to protect information as it's being sent from user to user, or from, files in the system, or from an email system. AD-RMS is sort of the predecessor. It's been around since what? 2005 or so, or before.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
Yeah, but I think 2003. And each couple of years, it's updated. And at one point, they realized that the engine has to be updated so that it actually can do a lot more work than it needs to be that it needs to do now. And so Azure RMS kind of shows up, and it becomes it can help you protect your company sensitive information in all of the different scenarios. It's basically available for Office 365 and providing easy configuration and enforcement of information protection policies itself.
So what I like about Azure RMS is that it can protect not only on-prem stuff, but it can also protect cloud stuff. So if you have AD RMS, you're only able to protect what's inside your network. But if you have Azure RMS, you have both, in and out. Cloud and not. Well,
and even more so, it's irreverent to the devices that you're on. So in other words, if you're sending a Word document from someone that's running a Windows device to someone running an Android or an iOS device, it still has the ability to protect that file or data that you're sending to that person, just through Azure RMS.
Man. Hold on a second. Are you telling me that not only does Azure RMS protect files that are viewed on protect the files and allows a user to use files on Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, but it also works on iOS devices?
It doesn't care about it cares about the information you're sending. That's the important piece to remember.
All right, so then I guess it's a good thing to list. I mean, I'm looking at the supported device types and OS types. I see Windows 7, x86, x64. Same thing for Windows 8, Windows 8.1. Looks like Mac OS X from Lion on. Windows Phone, Android phone and tablet, iPhone and iPad as long as you're on iOS 6.0 or above, and Windows RT tablets. Dang, man, that's a long list.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of it. It's the idea that, we are really thinking about it from a device agnostic standpoint. It's the information that matters. Information, your company information that we want to protect. We look at the industry today and we see all these breaches of data and breaches of information, accessing, different cloud sources. We're trying to make sure that becomes a non-issue for our users.
All right. So when we say protect, does it mean that the files are encrypted?
I don't know, Frank. What does it mean?
Yes, it does. So it does mean that the file individually is encrypted. So, I mean, well, first of all, I guess I'm really excited that are doing things that's not just Microsoft focused, right? We didn't just say, hey, this is just for Microsoft stuff. You can actually use this on all kinds of devices. So that's really, that's really awesome. And I would say against the grain from traditional Microsoft of 10 years ago, that's pretty awesome.
Yep, no, I think so too. But even to add to that, it actually protects all file types. So like before when you used to configure RMS, only Office files could be protected.
Older versions.
Yep, using the native protection. But now, with what they call the generic protection, it means that any file type can be protected. And, it gives it a different name. For example, if you have a PDF file that you want to have protected and sent to someone else, you can use what we call the Azure remote sharing app and protect that file, and it will be recompiled and saved as a PDF, a protected PDF, and you can send that to your users who can then open it and view it just based on the policies that you set on that app, on that file.
Wow, man, that is awesome. All right, so this comes into that. I think I talked about it on the last podcast. I have this sort of visual discussion about the way I try to, when I'm talking to customers and the way I try to convey how this works. I use this treasure chest example. And so let's take that for a minute, right? Typically, if we look at a treasure chest, the treasure chest itself is locked. And typically that treasure chest is hidden somewhere. Maybe it's, locked away in a cavern or locked away in a safe, right? So that's our perimeter security, the thing that protects the chest itself. And then you probably have that chest itself that's locked. So that would be maybe further locking inside of your network, like maybe NTFS permissions or things. But the problem is, if somebody breaks through the perimeter or goes around it, let's say an employee internally, takes that file, puts on a USB key and goes outside. Now you're outside of the vault and you're outside of the treasure chest. It's completely unlocked because that user's got permission. So what do? You have to actually protect the gold inside the treasure chest. And that's what RMS gives us the ability to do, so that even if that file made it outside, if you don't have the rights to unencrypt that file and view it, you can't see it. It's, just that simple.
No, that's a very good point to make. I mean, even more so, the way I've always looked at our information protection when it comes to, making sure data is protected is, the cost of not having that data sent could be millions and millions of dollars for your company, or even, loss of personal information for you, thousands of dollars within your own account.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Good point.
So some of the reasons why RMS is such a big part of this is, I'll just name a couple real quick. Some of the drivers is really, to protect all file types. You can share documents with anyone that you care about based on who needs access to the document. You can share documents on any devices. Those are things we just talked about. And it needs to work with any or all infrastructure. So whether you're on-prem or in the cloud or in a hybrid scenario, that information must be protected, right? So those are some of the reasons why Azure RMS became important. And then same scenarios have to be true for your partners, the folks on the receiving end. We want to make sure that when they receive your information, that they can also, protect their data and view your data in a protected way, the same way you viewed it.
Okay. So I wanted to also touch on we talked about encryption, right? And Azure Rights Management, by the way, the default is RSA 2048, and the public key cryptography is SHA 256. Now, it supports RSA 1024, SHA-1, and SHA-256. Mm-hmm. Both of the, whether you're internal or on Azure, it's my UK stuff. Still kicking in.
All right. We know what you meant.
It uses AES 128 for symmetric encryption. Now, one thing that our government customers and our financial customers are really going to be interested in is that it is FIPS 140-2 compliant. So I know a lot of our government customers are regulated with this FIPS 140-2, and a lot of financial agencies are, so that's an important thing to understand. The file itself is now FIPS 140-2 compliant when you utilize Azure RMS.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Very
I
nice.
think that's cool stuff.
Yep. One other thing I do want to add is if you are an existing Office 365 user, you can take advantage of Azure RMS because it also has information protection built into it. So whether you're using Exchange Online, you can have RMS, for, that, which basically is enabled on iPads and iPhones. SharePoint Online, basically the same thing where you can protect your documents, your applications. Even when you're migrating to it, you have the ability to enable Azure RMS, and basically you would go into your portal on the Microsoft Online, and in your server settings, you can then configure it to enable rights management just by one button. You click it and it's enabled.
Dude, that's really, I love this thing. I mean, it really, I think this is the future of IT security, right? It's protecting the gold in my treasure chest example, and this makes it really easy. In fact, when you do this, there's a ton of features, but one of the ones I really like is the auditing and monitoring features. You can monitor the use of your protected files, and that's when they leave your organization, even then.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
You can see if the people you specified open the document, when they open the document. You can see if somebody who didn't have access or they tried to access the document and weren't able to. We're really empowering security departments to have much more control. When you have just a document, it goes out via email, it's gone. You have no idea what's going on with that document. So let's see, what other cool things
I think it's a great solution.
Oh yeah, so you can actually trust implicitly certain domains. So let's say that you have, a company umbrella, right? You have two different organizations. They have two different domains or two different, Frank at Microsoft.com and Alfred at Bing.com or whatever. So you can implicitly trust that domain from domain to domain. I think that's really good too because it makes it really easy without having to configure, like the old style of the internal trust setup. When you go through the RMS in the cloud, it's very easy to do that.
Yep. No, I think it's great. And even if you were a standalone individual who wanted to protect your information, we built that in too, right? I know many of you may not have heard of this, but it's the RMS sharing app, or basically a standalone version to be able to protect your data, right? And you can find it if you're on your computer now. You can go to a secure site and go to portal.aadrm.com and basically enter a email address within an organization, not in the Hotmail, not one of those externally available addresses, but something that is an org that we may know about. Mm-hmm. And basically you are able to take advantage of using the RMS sharing app to deliver, protected documents to your endpoints.
That's really great. It also has RMS Connector, so not only can you protect documents, but you can connect. So if you have on-prem Exchange, SharePoint, or using the file classification infrastructure, which we've talked about before on Windows Server, yep. You have connectors. If you're doing on cloud, it connects with the on-prem stuff too. And connects those things explicitly, so emails can be protected and files that are on SharePoint. So famously, that might have been really helpful if we're dealing with a situation like some person who mined a bunch of government data from a SharePoint server and then released it to the general public.
Exactly. So one more piece about the sharing app. So basically, there is about a couple days ago there was announced that you now can have the RMS sharing app for Mac users. So if you're a Mac user, you get to take advantage of protecting your data too. We care about your data.
Come on, you kidding me, man? What is going on here?
I don't know. Microsoft's showing the love.
Showing the love for Apple. Wow, man.
If you guys are familiar with the Azure Active Directory sync, it also has support for Azure RMS, or at least it's in beta, and it should be coming through too. You'll be able to use that to synchronize and also protect your data regardless of where the data lives.
Also, policies are managed through customized templates. It's really easy to put together, a quick template. It's flexible, so you can templatize certain types of data or email, or apply policies by user and put certain protection levels. So, maybe I say that anyone in finance has, everything they do is encrypted or whatever.
Yeah, and I
Super
forgot
easy.
to mention that. So that's also, so if you had a cloud Azure subscription or trial subscription, you have the ability to go in there and enable Azure RMS as a feature that you would take advantage of, and then create templates around it that you can actually use to determine who has rights to send what.
Another thing that's really cool that Microsoft has enabled is that there's a rights management SDK. So you can have developers and software vendors with using APIs, and they can write custom applications that support Azure RMS natively.
Yep.
So, this thing is so flexible, so awesome. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I think that was the goal. It was to make sure that we put information protection at the top of the list. As a matter of fact, we'll be probably talking more about managing mobile devices, but as a prerequisite, if you're working with customers, if you are someone that's looking to take advantage of enterprise mobility, you probably should spend some time thinking about what it means to manage devices from a holistic perspective, because there's an aspect of it that really is focused on the security of the information as it's being sent to these, disparate devices, as well as how you authenticate against these devices, protecting who you are and knowing that it's who you are when you're accessing these devices.
All right, so we have some companies that we work with that are concerned about where their keys are stored because of particular government regulations. For example, Microsoft has data centers in North America, EMEA, and Asia, and you can store your tenant key in those individual data centers, so your key can be used in region only, which I think is important. And then it's also certified. I mentioned that we are certified for FIPS 140-2. Standard cryptography, right? But then it's also certified for ISO, IEC 2007-1, SOC 2, SSAE. It's HIPAA compliant and certified, and it's also certified with the EU model clause. So you know what? I don't see, typically when we sit down with security, these are questions they're going to ask, like, hey, I don't know this product. I've never heard of it. We use, XYZ company. Is this thing certified? It's in the cloud. Is it really trustworthy? Microsoft has spent a lot of time to make sure, that these products are certified by regulating boards, and they meet the regulations, not just in America, but, multiple countries across the globe.
Agreed. There's a lot of benefits to using Azure RMS, and again, just the ability for it to kind of traverse the cloud is probably what I'm most excited about. I don't have to manage it outside of using a specific app. I don't have to set up and install anything. I just need to subscribe, and then I have access to protect my data.
I'm really geeking out. I'm really surprised that, some of these things I honestly didn't know about some of the things you're bringing up, and I'm pretty hyped. I can't believe that, we're enabling iOS devices. I can't believe we're enabling Android devices. It's this is killer.
Yeah, no, I think that's the key, is to make sure. That's what we do, right? We're basically giving, services so that we can help you, manage, let you do what you're supposed to do with your companies, with, in your daily life, make it easy for you so that you don't have to worry about losing information. You don't have to worry about sending information to a device and, having to worry about the compromisation, what is the word I'm looking for, Frank?
I don't know.
To be taken advantage of. Yeah, compromised. That's it.
Yeah, so okay, so let me ask you this. All of these amazing features, all the things that we've talked about up till now, there must be, with the Enterprise Mobility Suite, this comes with the Enterprise Mobility Suite. It must just be a subset of these features. in this suite.
No, actually, no. I mean, it's not a subset. That's the whole point.
You
We're
get the
giving
whole boat?
it to you.
Kit
Yes.
and caboodle? The whole
Kit
thing?
and caboodle. Yes.
Wow,
yes,
man.
Absolutely.
All right.
I mean, what? I don't know if there's any reason we wouldn't do that as part of a package deal. That's what you get.
Awesome stuff, man. Well, I really hope our
pretty excited.
listeners are getting some value out of this. I think I know I'm really hyped about it. I know a lot of our services guys, our senior consultants, our architects are really hyped about it. When I sit down and I have this discussion with security departments at our customers, they really want to see this thing in play. And I think it's awesome that you can go get a free trial and test it out, live. You can get out there and just test it out at no charge and see how this thing works.
Well, even more so, if you already have a subscription with EMS and you're only using it for identity or ADFS or any of those solutions, AAD sync, or if you're only using it to manage mobile devices in Intune, you definitely need to think about protecting your data and how RMS, taking advantage of RMS, can do that.
Yeah, it's like you're rolling around in a big beautiful Corvette and you've got a nice big V8 in there and you're only using 4 of those 8 cylinders, right? You got to use all the things that come with this.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree. So,
well, dude, awesome episode. I am really excited. I really am looking forward to hearing some feedback from our listeners. What do they think about Azure RMS? Are you using it? Have you tested it? What are your thoughts? Make sure to hit us up on Twitter at The Device Pros. You can find us on Facebook, The Device Pros. You can find us on our website, thedevicepros.com. We have a voicemail hotline that you can call and leave us some feedback. Anything you want to do, any way you can think of, we're out there. We're in all the social media. Please let us know, what you think is going on with the podcast and with new Microsoft tech and any questions you may have. We'll do our best to point you in the right direction.
Right, and that's what we do. We're trying to show you what's out there, make sure you're aware of it. I mean, there are a lot of good products out there, but we are trying our best to show you how Microsoft is combining it to make a great solution for you. So follow us. We'll keep you sort of in track and make sure that you're up to speed as to what's going on.
All right. Well, that's the end of another amazing episode. Thank you very much, Alfred, for a fantastic, very informational podcast. I appreciate that very much. And next podcast, we're going to go over Intune.
Sounds like a plan, Stan.
All right. We will talk to y'all later. See ya. That wraps up another amazing episode of The Device Pros. We appreciate you tuning in and participating. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another incredible episode helping the technology community one podcast at a time. We want to hear from you, our loyal members, so please reach out on our website, thedevicepros.com, or The Device Pros on Twitter and Facebook. For now, be good to your technology and remember, the NSA is watching. See ya! While we work at Microsoft, this podcast is independent of Microsoft and implies no warranty or guarantee of the products or services. We will not be sharing anything confidential, and we do not represent the opinion of Microsoft in any way. We are just 2 passionate guys that love what we do implementing Microsoft devices and services.